Mike, what are we doing?
Messing up, replacing your mess up.
So, I didn't mess it up. Mike messed it up.
No, you're the one that wanted to impact that aluminum piece in there.
So, Mike impacted this aluminum piece, not me.
Oh, okay.
Somehow got this stuck in here, but this doesn't want to turn no more. So now we have to cut it out. Mike's gonna cut it out.
Yeah, Mike gonna fix your mistake.
Mike messed it up. So he didn't tell me to stop pounding on it.
Shouldn't have to.
But that's got to all be cut out. Got the new parts in, weld all that in, place that piece, fix the paintwork on it, then maybe finally get it out of here. Maybe next time Mike hears me with an impact gun, he'll be a little more mindful.
Yeah, next time I'm just shooting a BB gun. Stop that shit.
And maybe he'll tell me to stop. Normally he's always telling me to stop impacting stuff, but stop forcing it.
I did. Pretty sure I said, what are you doing and why are you doing it?
Put this side in and put some anti-seize on it, got it all working. We honestly are not sure if it's my fault. The tube was distorted a little bit on the side. Can't really tell the picture, but we put a straight edge on it and it was distorted, so might have warped it with the heat.
This is a paper company, people. Step lively. This whole place is a tinderbox. It is ready to blow.
That's a hard cut.
What a mess.
Yep. Running it harder.
So I don't understand how that messed up. Because all of that was ran through there and it's not damaged, but then all of a sudden on the inside, it all of a sudden messed up.
The aluminum fell apart and it just started rolling up in there.
That's what Chris was saying this morning.
Yeah.
Something went wrong. Definitely gonna put anti-seize on the next one. Yep. Alright, so got that one tacked back in, about to weld it up, but I want to show y'all because I actually had a couple people ask about these things. So they literally, you can just turn them. You know, you can raise or lower your shock height. Had a couple people ask on Facebook how they work. See? So you can spin that and raise, or if you need more shock extension, I guess, or if you want to lower the front of the car, you just turn it like that. So if you wanted to lift the front of the car for like no prep or something to get the front end up, you know, you just do it like that, turn that down. Good job, Mike. Did you mess it up?
Nah, man. Yeah, man. Nice. It's hot.
Ooh.
Let it cool down.
Dang, Mike.
Then the other,
All right, so Mike got it all welded up before he rolled out of here today. Got it all welded up. Some good penetration in there. So while it's here, I'll actually go ahead and show y'all underneath it. 'Cause all right. He got the cross member all welded in. Actually built one that is removable for the transmission. Don't worry about the brake lines. The brake lines are coming out and ripped out. It was from the first one. So you got all that welded in. Today, that's it comes out in good condition. And then let's see here. The trans tunnels, what she looks like to the rear end. Pretty much got it straight dead on. Drive shaft safety loop. I did extend the floors a little bit in here for just clearance, but it is a factory firewall car. The firewall hasn't been cut out or modified, and the trans tunnel is all factory up till the point where it gets a little smaller, which is about the front seat area. 4-link bars, we built all of that, did all the brackets, we back half the car. Anti-roll bar is actually coming out. I'm not happy with it. I'm either gonna change it up a little and reuse what I got, or completely redo it. A lot of this is all aluminum. This is the rear seat pan. I actually have it where it's all really tight, not a lot of clearance when the car's sitting way down. We got some carbon in here. Wanted to cut a little weight. Want to put more carbon in it, but just have it. 4-link brackets, coilovers, Viking double adjustables. It is an 8.8. It's been shortened. So we got the trans cooler mounted back here. It'll be in the back. The fuel cell comes out underneath here. So yeah, decent little setup. I don't know, continuously improving it, changing it. So Mustang 2 front end, strange brakes. So I did cut and modify the Mustang 2 cross member. The pipes are just on here for ride height, just to set ride height without having to have the shocks in there. Got the motor plate, or actually mid plate, not motor plate, I'm sorry, motor plate. Motor plate goes up here on these. Strange lightweight brakes. Yeah, I think it should be a pretty decent little setup. Manual steering rack, bump stop, bump steer tip, sorry, not bump stop, thinking trucks. Yep, so that's the underside of the car. Probably won't ever be able to get that on video easily again, because it's never on the lift. This is basically a jack stand built car. That's it. So we went this morning to screw this in, and it still gets tight in the center. Now Mike welded all this up slow. He didn't throw a lot of heat to it. After all, he did that side perfectly fine, and that worked out perfectly fine, but this side still got a little tight. So instead of messing up another set, I had to go buy this freaking thing. I mean, look how big this thing is, dude. So it's actually a 1 1/8 by 12 tap. And if you're in Wilmington, this is where we got it from. They actually have all kinds of stuff, but that's another $73.83 to the bill. That thing is huge. Alright, so as y'all seen, we got it tapped out, cleaned out the threads. It was just a little bit of stuff in there. I mean, it was more like it was warped in the center. And like I said, he didn't throw too much heat at it. But yeah, I mean, it goes with your hands down like it should. So I think that problem's fixed. That's just another $75 gone, which is why this car just eats the money left and right. Alright, so we got some body filler back on it. I feel like I'm back at square square one, starting all over. So the plan here is to, of course, get the body filler blocked out and primer, and then I'm going to show y'all how I break the paint on this weld, and then I'm going to repaint this tube, tape all this up, and break the paint right there. So all I'm going to end up doing is painting that tube. And we're going to use some fine line tape so you don't see the edge, hopefully, as much, and pull the tape while the clear coat's wet so that hopefully it rolls over. I'll show y'all how I'll do everything like that when you mess up. I mean, this is a learning process. As you know why this car is taking so long, because I've learned so much. If I redid this again, I'll tell you what I won't use. Probably won't use fine thread shock jack bolts. So the jack sleeves and the jack bolts are 1 inch and 1/8 by 12. That's the thread pitch. And I've learned that they have a more aggressive thread pitch. I believe it's inch by 1/8 by 8, and that's the coarse thread. So a lot of people, or some people I'm talking to that were in NASCAR and stuff like that, say that the coarser thread jack bolt doesn't tend to strip out, you know, like the fine thread does. The fine thread gives you more adjustment, but it doesn't tend to strip out as bad as the coarse thread. And being that they're aluminum jack bolts and steel jack sleeves, that of course is not always the best combination. But I mean, that's what it is. Them are actually, that's not knockoff stuff. That's actually the jack bolt and everything. That's All-Star. That's by All-Star. So it's not like some cheap put together stuff. I paid a pretty penny. I think I paid man, I want to say a little over $200 for this setup. By the time you bought the jack bolts, the 2 sleeves, and the 2 lock or jam nuts, and now this morning a $74 tap. But hopefully this is all fixed and we can get the car back to the house and continue putting it back together and move on. All right, so this is not how I normally like to do things, but this is how we're doing it here to fix this. So we're actually not even gonna prime that. It's another little shortcut trick. You gotta remember, man, this is just a tube chassis. This is not, don't get too carried away. Okay, so what we got going on. So we're gonna stop the paint here. This is just yellow tape. So there's gonna be a tiny hard line where the clear coat stops around here. You won't really see it because it's black. But down here, you'll more likely see it if you pop the hood. So we got the yellow tape, and then we actually have this black tape, which is a vinyl tape. I've left a little pigtail here so I can pull. What I'll do is I'll paint this, and then the clear coat will be sitting on that edge. If you can imagine that right there at the edge of that tape, that's called a hard line, where your clear coat sits on the edge of the tape. Then if you let it dry like that, when you pull the tape, then you have a little line that you can pick with your fingernail or you can see. So what we'll do is paint this, and then on the, we'll just put 1 coat of clear over it probably, maybe 2. Anyway, the final coat of clear, we'll pull this vinyl tape, and that will allow the clear coat to roll, that little edge to roll, so you don't really see it, so it kind of just disappears. But let's get this thing banged out. So there we go. Got that sprayed out. All right, now here's what I'm talking about. So we're gonna take this vinyl tape, pull this without getting it all over ourselves. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt because everything is sticky. Actually undo this piece to get this other one. Everything won't stick in my hands, so you gotta remember everything's covered in freaking clear coat. Alright, we're gonna take that. Alright. So now, and I don't even, there's the line. Can you see the line? There's the line right there. Now that's here over the next few minutes, that's going to slowly roll. And that edge will lay out just a little bit. It's still there, but I mean, look how close we are. Back up, I mean, you can't even see, you don't really even see it. You know, so in this situation, it's a pretty good hide. There's our plate with no primer, and if you remember the last paint job where I talked about dirty clear, that's all I did. I just put base coat on it, and then I put base coat in my clear coat to tint it. It's got a couple tiny pieces of trash in it, but it's just a tube chassis. But it turns out pretty good for no primer. So yeah, I think that's a pretty decent, fast, cheap repair. You can see the light right there. That wrinkle that's in it, it's actually not a run. Look, it's got stuff all stuck on my fingers. It's actually where the old edge was. So that's the type of stuff that you get out whenever you block stuff. But you're not, I mean, you're not gonna see that.